one and only new host, Denise. Bringing you amped, raw, and fun energy to entertain as you end your week to welcome your weekend. Denise will bring new friends, celebrities, entrepreneurs, topic experts, musicians, foodies, local events, news, and much more to educate, celebrate, motivate, relax, and relate. As she says, let's make your mess your message. So let's get this party started. Here's Denise.
Happy juice?
Happy juice.
Say it louder.
Happy juice.
So happy juice!
Happy juice.
Is this Mama's happy juice?
Happy juice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the brand new album from Tito Puente Jr., The King and I. A tribute to the Mambo King, Tito Puente, featuring Frankie Negrón, José Alberto El Canario,
20 años de su rumba,
Domingo Quiñones,
y aquí llegó Tito Puente Jr.
Michael Stewart,
Legado sigue vivo, nadie lo va a detener.
El Meñique.
Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. It's your Power Up Radio TV show. And as you know the drill, we are going to take your week and close it out and move it into a weekend. So I have such a great lineup today, a lot of fun. We're going to bring out the Spanglish and the Latin culture tonight. So hang tight. I want you to stay tuned because we have a lot to share. My guest is super extra special who will bring us back in time and tell us what it's like to have been raised in a household that has a legendary musician. So I'm going to roll into talking about that, but you know this is what our show is about. I know for those of you that are driving down 95 and sitting in the car and listening, I am so appreciative that you're doing that. But I'm going to do my best for those of you that I can't see that I'm going to go ahead and share with you what I'm looking at and what we did see. So the opening was just now a short video clip on my guest. So if you haven't thought who or guessed who it is just yet, we're going to get there in a second. On who we're talking about today. And yes, that was me with the happy juice. You know, it's a happy hour show, and we are very, very excited that we get to have this moment with you. And I'm so appreciative for all those listeners. I am really, really wanting to make sure that you know I appreciate you and that you're very important to me in the fact of getting this show to continue rolling. We are getting to have our first sponsor. I'm very, very excited about it. But you're going to know a little bit more about me as we move on through each show. I think right now, Freddie, we are in our 12th show. And I'm really, really excited that we've made it this far. So I so think and hope that you are appreciating the material that we're bringing to you. This content is super extra. And we've been through so much in different ways of helping you go from one spot of knowing that, my God, that's a great story. My goodness, that's amazing. And then realizing that there is a great ending in the story.
You got 12 different pair of glasses?
I have many different glasses, but this is my favorite one. This is my Power Up glasses. Okay, so we're going to stick to that. Yeah, so this is another look for Denise, for those of you that kind of wonder what all the different looks that I have. And this is my, let's call it my Latina look. How's that? We'll run with that one. So for those of you that can't see, I have red glasses on, my hair is up in a pigtail, and I got these big old earrings hanging. And yes, I have a turtleneck, which is red, which because the weather has been really great. We are headed for a fantastic weekend in super great weather. So any events that are happening out there, you know what? This is the day and the weekend to do it because it's extraordinarily great weather. It's also boot weather. So for those of you that like boots like I do, pull those boots out and strut your way through everywhere. So with that, I'm going to introduce our guest. Yes, this is the one and only, and I'm so super excited to and proud to have him on the show. By the way, just know you can hear me on the following radio stations. So you can hear me on 95.3 FM, 96.9, 1470 AM, and you can also hear us on iHeartRadio on the WWN network. You can hear me on there, or you can go live and see me as not just audio, but viewage. You can go ahead and see me on Facebook Live, under Power Up Radio TV. You can go onto YouTube under Power Up Radio TV, and we have so much more. So I'm so hoping you really enjoy us. With that said, who is our special guest? If you haven't guessed it, here it is. Tito Puente Jr.
Epa.
Epa! Yeah, we're happy to have you here.
Gracias.
Thank you so much for coming up. I have so many questions and I have some surprises for you. I have some old timers dialing in to see how they can give you some questions and pull through. But we're going to get down and dirty. We're going to talk
love it.
about Tito. I don't know when the last time you had that conversation or that kind of interview, but just to let you know that we are live.
Okay, this sounds more like an interrogation, folks. Muchas gracias por invitarme, Denise. And shouts out to everybody here at the Power Up Radio crew. I love you guys. The show is fantastic. I listen, and I've been tuning in, and I'm very proud of you. Being a Hispanic, Latina woman coming up and running a show like this right here in South Florida, it's absolutely beautiful.
Dale
Absolutely.
for me.
Vaya, mama.
Dale for me.
Qué chévere.
Yes. So, I always like to do this. I want to go back in time. I want to have our listeners and viewers really take a back in time tour with us and
I'm
see
nervous. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. This is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to do as much as we can to tell people what it was like for you to be a youthful someone growing up in a household with the son, the legendary Tito Puente Sr.
Of course. My late father was an amazing man. It's been 22 years, Denise, 22 years that we lost the king of Latin music, but, his spirit lives on throughout his music and, of course, me performing his music around the world. It's been really crazy ride. Didn't think I would still be performing and talking to fans after all those years. But people still resonate and revert back to the old sound of Fania music, of Tito Puente, of Celia Cruz, those icons, those legends, and it's just amazing. Really amazing.
Great names. It's part of our history.
It is.
It really, really is. It's
Somos
part of our
Boricua.
history. Somos Boricua, yeah. I have to say, my dad is in the house, for those of you that don't know. My dad, that's the Cuban side of me. So I got the best of both worlds.
Que viva Cuba.
Que viva Cuba, that's right. Libertad, totally. So I do have to say, I'm going to pause. It's my dad's birthday today.
Feliz cumpleaños, papi.
Yes.
Que
Happy
chévere.
birthday, Dad. Happy birthday. Shout out to my
21
dad.
years old
He's
tonight.
21 again.
21.
Yep. And that would make me non-existent, but okay.
Yes.
We'll run with that. Thanks, Dad, for being here. I love you very much. So let's go back.
Sure.
I have a question. So when did you realize that who Dad was? Like the magnitude of who he really was. I'm curious about that. Many of us can probably have that question, but I thought about that.
Well, I think everybody here and everybody listening can probably relate. And when I was about maybe a teenager, I would say maybe about 8 or 9 years old, my sister, Audrey Puente, who's 1 year older than me at that time, was a big fan of a group called Menudo. Remember Menudo?
Yes, of course I
You
remember
were a fan
Menudo.
too. Of course you were. We were all fans of Menudo. Little
Yes.
Ricky Martin.
I love that. Love him.
So my sister was a fan of Menudo, and Menudo, of course, knew who Tito Puente was. And my father had some tickets to go to the concert, and we had front row center in Madison Square Garden, New York. I didn't really understand what my father did. At 8 years old, you're kind of like, he's the old guy that goes on stage with the white hair and plays amazing drums.
Yes.
That's what I kind of looked at him as.
Okay.
And everybody was swooning over Tito Puente. So during the concert, Menudo, all the guys in the group kind of stopped their concert and they said, "Con ustedes, aquí estamos, el señor Tito Puente, aquí estamos." So 18,000 people all of a sudden started looking at me, my sister, and my father. And they just were chanting, "Tito, Tito, Tito," the whole Coliseum. And I think that was the point where I said, wow, I couldn't believe how popular my father was at that point.
You were about 8 or 9 at this point.
About 7, 8 years old at that point. I think it was about 1980, 81. Is that when Menudo first started?
Around that time.
About
frame,
that
yeah,
time.
I think so.
And right after that, I tried to get in the group. But
How'd that go?
I got to this age now, but it was amazing to see the leverage or the iconistic, like legendary status that he had even at that era.
Right.
And 1980s, because he was popular all the way from the 1940s and 50s.
It's just
throughout,
amazing.
decades and decades later, still being that popular. That was probably really the moment that I remember the most. My sister, of course, can think of other times, and my brother too, but that was the one that really stuck with me after all these years.
So you were one of 3?
I'm one of 3. I'm the youngest. I'm the bebé.
Bebé.
Yo soy el bebé de la
Sí,
familia
cómo no,
Puente.
el bebé, yeah.
My brother Ronnie is from my dad's first marriage. He's still with us today. He's in his 70s. I won't say 70, sir. And my sister Audrey is 1 year older than me. I just turned 50 this year, and she's 51.
Happy birthday. Milestone.
Yeah, milestone birthday, and I'm just happy. No white hair yet. No white hair. I don't know if those of you
No,
watching.
sangre, that's
Sin
sangre.
pelo
It's not
blanco,
gonna
pero muy pronto porque yo tengo mucho hijo. So yeah, but it's just amazing, being his son and remembering him every time I perform and traveling around the world, seeing all the great fans. Your father being a fan as well.
Yep.
He probably met my father a few times. I saw Tito Puente in concert, and of course, we always remember Celia Cruz, Tito Puente, those two
Fantastic
icon
names.
figures, and just amazing, really cool.
So I want to pause real quick
Sure.
and say anyone that wants to dial in and have a question.
Okay, except
posed-
the IRS, please.
Yes.
No
no.
IRS.
No feds.
No
Sorry.
ex-girlfriends,
No
ex-wives.
We'll keep that clean. We'll take that offline.
Yeah.
But you can dial into 888-565-1470 and feel free to dial it in. And I want to hear from you. And I'm pretty certain there are questions out there from people that want to hear a little bit more about certain things they may have been curious about.
Sure.
So I'm going to go back now. So here we are. You realize, oh my God, Papa, Papi, like, wow, you're an amazing person. Yeah. But now, where did your musical interest come from? Like, when did that all start?
Well, of course, as a child, everybody knows, my father told me, don't touch my drums. And what do you do as a kid? You go and touch the drums. But originally, I'm a rock drummer. I love heavy metal.
Love it.
One of my favorite bands is Iron Maiden, Metallica, Slayer. I love the heavy stuff. And it was funny because when I grew up, I didn't understand what mambo music. I never really resonated with 2/3 clave and clave rhythms and Afro-Cuban music, because that's what Tito Puente performed all his life. Mm-hmm. And as I traveled with him in my teenage years, when I was 16, 17 years old, my mother said, hey, you got to spend more time with your kids, because dad was on the road 200, 300 shows a year. So during the summers, my mom would send me with my father, and that's when I kind of honed in on the clave sound and got into music, into Latin music a little bit more.
And how old are you now at that point?
I was about maybe 16, 17 at that time. And then my father didn't teach me how to play drums. I had to go to school, and I love that about him. He didn't have the patience really to teach his children, about music or the music industry.
But he didn't have to, because you had the influence there.
Yeah, just being around him, I kind of felt it.
It was through osmosis it was happening.
Yes, it was. And he would always tell me, he's a true New Yorker, Puerto Rican, born and raised in Spanish Harlem, came from humble beginnings, but he would always tell me, he'd be like, listen, just watch me, listen, don't say a word. And, and I kind of just followed that pattern throughout his whole career. And that's how I really gravitated towards playing congas, timbales, bongos, all the Latin percussion I played.
And you learned all that while you were in school?
I went to school at Five Towns College in Seaford, Long Island for 2 semesters. And then I learned from a great man named Sam Ulano, my father's friend, who's a trap kit drummer. So I learned trap kit first. And that's, if you're a musician out there, you guys know the difference between timbales and trap kit. 2/4 time rock drumming, Phil Collins, some of the greatest drummers, Neil Peart, the late Neil Peart, Rush. Those are all my favorite bands,
Is that right? Well, I have special news to share with you about an event that I hosted. So we'll go into that a little bit later.
Okay.
So, what I want to do is bring our viewers and listeners in the journey with us. So it gives them a vision, and it gives them the storyline as to, okay, this is about Tito and Junior, and the interest and the wow factor hit you when you were around 7, 8, and then you realize, you go to school, and then the music interest came out, and the influence that your dad placed on you, and then you learned all these instruments in school.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure too.
And that's where I'm going to go right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it was not easy, because that life and that this industry is very, very crazy regardless. Yeah. And I want to ask you, what was one of the biggest challenges that you had as being the son of such a legend?
Right. Finding my own identity was really the issue. And my father called the word, he used to bring it up all the time, it was called nepotism. And I tell everybody, well, I'm not Enrique Iglesias, okay? Because Julio Iglesias and Enrique have 2 styles that are a little bit different. And of course, I came from the rock world, and I love dance music and freestyle. And I was growing up during the Latin era of Latin urban music, where dance music was very popular in the late 80s and the early 90s. It was very, very popular for me. So when I traveled with my father, I was listening to those sounds and getting into that a little bit more. So I found my own little niche. Okay. I started doing Latin house music, and I just connected the 2 worlds together. Still loving rock music and still playing in a heavy metal band. I decided to be like jack of all trades, and I wanted to get into more production. That's what I kind of did with the dance music. And then I connected the worlds of Latin and pop and all that together by presenting Latin dance music. At that time was very hot, was the in thing at that time.
So we're in the 80s at this point?
I'm going to say probably the early 90s
Okay.
and late 80s. The freestyle music was very, very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Latin urban music at that time in New York was very popular. And at that time, when you went to go see a salsa group or a band, such as Tito Puente, they would have these little Latin urban bands in between the sets.
Right.
And that's where it kind of bridged. Hence Puente. And that's where it came together, where I said, I'm going to find my own identity, and started growing the hair out. I had long hair, you saw in the video earlier.
Well, we're going to go ahead and show that as we
Yeah.
speak. Freddie, do you have that available? We can actually show and
Yeah.
that was, I believe, the immersion, or I should say the combination, because
That was it. That was
I
really
saw
the
that
meeting.
there was a combination of the salsa Latin influence with the drum, the beat.
Right,
of
the dance
80s,
music.
The dance music.
I redid a song called Oye Como Va, was very
Yes,
popular.
I love that one. I
Yeah.
actually saw that and posted with that one.
It's a awesome tune, and I decided to just remix it with my father playing on drums. And he was like, "What's this house music?" And I'd be like, "Your son does house music, Dad." He's like, "Whose house?" He didn't understand house music at the time. And I paid him with a kiss, and then he told me my kisses are very expensive.
Oh.
But I got him in the music video, and it was just great. And my mom, I got to thank her, because she was the one like, go help your son out a little bit, with the music thing, simply because he didn't teach me or anything like that. I was just grateful that he did all that for me by participating in that song and letting me re-record it. It's one of his hits.
That's right.
But it's funny because the song's become popular through Carlos Santana with his rock version in the 1970s. But my father wrote it back in 1963. And it's such a classic hit even till today. It's right there with Gloria
I can relate
Gaynor.
with
and all that.
1963.
Yeah. Well, back then was like the Boogaloo and all those cha-cha-chas, and those melodies were very popular. That's right. That's right. So historically, that's where I really found my niche, and that was really the moment where I found my true self. And I said, you know what? I can do this on my own outside of being the son of Tito Puente. I can actually perform and hold my own.
So let's see if we can get that video on.
Tito Puente Jr. bears a striking resemblance to his legendary father El Rey in his virtuosity in all phases of Latin music. He's a composer, arranger, producer, and all-around entertainer. Tito Jr. was born and raised in New York City. Within the culture of his Puerto Rican background, he is totally bilingual, equally at home singing and speaking in Spanish or English. He studied music and
Look how young
composition
you
while
look.
still at college, and soon learned everything he could about Latin percussion.
Yeah,
He
the
began to
narrator's making
perform
me
with
sound
his
like a
own group
superstar.
in various different venues all over Europe and in North, South, and Latin America, appearing
Oh my
on the
God,
same
that's some
bill with
great
many
stuff.
of the most famous names in the Latin music world. He has appeared on virtually every internationally syndicated TV network, including NBC, ABC, CBS, MTV,
Is that clear? I know what's
Fox,
going on.
HBO
Okay.
Special in the USA, the BBC in London, England, and in the Latin market on MTV Latino, Telemundo,
probably cut it.
and Univision, just to name a few. He has been featured in magazines.
All right. Man, let
And
me tell
we're
you,
back.
That was just down memory lane right there.
Well, let me just tell you, for those of you that cannot see what I just saw, we were looking at someone, this is Tito Puente Jr., that was sporting long hair and like clothing from the disco days.
That's true.
And we had kind of like a man ponytail going
Yeah.
on. But the music and the moves have not changed.
No, I was jumping around. I was being an acrobat. I got to tell you, watching that, I didn't realize how long my career has been. But those videos that we just viewed were when my father was with us. And it just feels like yesterday to me, because it's been 22 years since he passed away. But I continue his music, and I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to do my own thing,
Right.
find my own niche, and then present his music now. It's just such a full circle.
Did he used to go and see your shows?
Yes, he went a couple of times. He didn't understand them. I took him to one of the heavy metal shows too. He was like,
I
"These
can
guys are
imagine.
banging their head and all that." And he didn't understand it either. But being a parent now that I am one,
Wait, hold on, we didn't get there yet.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
still on the
all right.
journey.
Okay.
I'm still on the journey
all
with
right.
you.
Well, I think in retrospect, it was nice that he was there and he was encouraging, and in supporting anything that I kind of wanted to do at the time. I don't think he really wanted me to be a musician, but then I asked him one day and I said, "Well, why'd you name me after you?"
Right.
So subconsciously, he kind of did in some, I guess, another dimension or some other way. Yeah, I guess it was like that, you know. And I kind of did that with my children too. I kind of named
you?
them after me and put the pressure on him. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go forward in time here.
Yeah.
So
I got a question.
we got a
Sure.
question.
Do you think your dad didn't want you to follow his music? Because, you know, I don't think your father expected to blow up the way
Yeah,
he did.
of course not.
Finding All Stars, all that in
Yeah.
the day. My sister's on the phone listening.
Yeah.
They didn't expect to blow up, and Latin music was coming out. It was like a burst.
Sure.
And maybe your father wanted you to do your own thing, which I think you did.
Absolutely, because at that time when I was blossoming into playing and with the hair and all that, I was doing something that was very popular at the time, which was Latin house music and dance music. Very, very popular in the late 80s and early 90s. So I was doing that and I was bridging my father into that world. And that's where all the Mark Anthonys and the Indias and all the
Right.
people that came out of that world moved into the Latin music world, to salsa music world. So I kind of bridged that gap for him. And Dad was very happy that I got to do that.
That's amazing.
So
did he ever say to you who was his influence?
yes, well, we all know if you just look in the history books, but yes, one of his influences was a great Afro-Cuban leader named Machito. He was an Afro-Cuban all-star leader with the great bands. Arsenio Rodriguez, the late great Cachao Lopez. These are Afro-Cuban superstars that started in the 1920s and 30s.
God, that's
Remember, my
amazing.
dad was born in 23. So
Wow.
when he was growing up, those were his idols at that time.
Did he play in Cuba?
Yes, he did. He called it, I played in BC. I said, what's BC? Before Castro. So he would play there before Castro.
I love that.
And yeah, and he would play there at the Hotel Nacional.
That's
And
right.
he played there with Jose Cubelo, the Machito Afro-Cuban All-Stars. And he actually drove down here, but they would take an old airline called Pan Am and Eastern Airlines over there. And he would spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks playing there. And it was great. And he told me all the stories. And this a really young Puente. He was only about 18, 17 years old at the time going out there. But he was so good at timbales that all the big band leaders wanted to have little Ernie Puente. That was his name, Ernestito Antonio Puente. Have him come and jam in Cuba.
Did he learn? Was he self-taught?
I'm going to say he was influenced by Montesino, which was a very popular percussion player at that time. Caco was another one. They were very powerful Afro-Cuban players that lived in New York and came from Cuba at the time. But he was a child prodigy. He just learned piano. He learned 13 different instruments. He played the saxophone, bass, everything. And I think he had his own style.
Yeah.
So he took from others, and then he inspired to play the way that he does. And you guys could just Google Tito Puente and see the amazing performances he did.
Everybody but
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, you know what? The apple didn't fall far from the tree.
Well, muchas gracias.
Yeah.
You're going to make me blush like an apple.
You know, one of the things that has struck me, and I've known you now for a while, a
Yeah.
little bit, and you have a consistent high energy, upbeat. Is this like something you've inherited, or are you just high and happy every day? Or I just get to see the side, and when you go home, it's another day.
No, I'll say it right here live. My wife tells me to be quiet every day. My kids do. They're like, you talk too much. I'm very, very, I have orange juice in the morning and I just go. I think I get that workmanship spirit and that just high energy spirit from my father because he was like that.
Okay.
And very humble. Bien humilde allá en la calle. So Tito Puente was the type of guy you could walk down the street and say, hey, Tito, take a picture with me. And he would love to do that. You guys got to meet Dad or see him in concert. He's very down to earth. And I think that's where I get it from. I get it from that humility that he just exuded from his popularity. He was an icon, a legend. A legend that was with us at that time. And if you guys, your father says it firsthand. He knows. And when you saw Tito Puente, you saw El Rey de Timbal, the king of Latin music.
Yep.
So he was royalty. But to me, he was just dear old dad, and that's where I got that humility from. And I tell you, every day my kids are like, "Oh, can you stop?" I get up at 6 a.m. I'm like, "Let's go to school. We're ready. Let's go." I put on Tito Puente. They're like, "Can you just lower it, please, Dad? Not today."
Oh, jeez.
It's Monday. I'm like, "Vámonos!"
So when you were growing up, though, the one thing that I want to ask, you've managed to keep your identity. You've managed to stay, I would imagine, as much as you can out of the limelight with respect to getting into the wrong elements, into a compromising position that maybe your dad had to step in. So give me a moment in time where we can actually all relate to where did you get home late for when you had to be home, or did you take the car when you weren't supposed to? Give me just one time story.
All of it. We've all we're the same age kind of, so we've all went through it. We stole the car, and we went out to the movies with our girlfriends or our boyfriends and stuff. I did all that, and he'd freak out. What are you doing? As I got older, I would travel with him. He slapped some drinks out of my hand. Oh, drinking, and follow my lead.
In English or español? Which one?
In español, in inglés, but he was more just street guy from New York, so he F-bombed me.
Okay.
But there were many times that he would get a little frustrated with me because what I did most of the time was I travel with him and I set up his drums or I drive him somewhere. Oh. And he would want the car there. He was very militant. He was like that with his musicians and his orchestra as well. Very professional, on time. And he taught me how to, when you're on time, you're late, and when you're early and you're on time.
Oh, that's military time.
Yeah, so he was and he served in the military.
Oh, I actually did read that.
Yes, my father served 4 years as a Navy private on the USS Santee, and he served in World War II from 1941 to 1944, I believe. And he got a GI degree, or what do you call it, the GI Bill, and then went to Juilliard School of Music after that.
Oh,
and that's what paid for his school, because remember, he was very poor at the time when he was young. But it was just amazing, seeing that growth, and I guess that's where I get the humility from. He comes from humble beginnings, and I know where he comes from, so it just translated into me. Into what I give to my children now.
It's interesting. A lot lot look how great photo of him. Yeah. That's awesome.
Splitting image, huh?
Oh yeah, not that guy.
Not yet, that one. But yeah.
This industry is very, very difficult. Musical industry.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you and your sister and your brother, for the most part, managed to stay in the straight and narrow.
Yeah, it was tough. I saw a lot of everything, you name it. The music industry always has drugs, alcohol, women, everything. I kind of, seeing it, and I saw my father dabble with it a little bit, but he always ended up on stage, straight and right in the pocket when he was playing.
In the zone.
And that's something that Tito Puente was like Teflon when it came to any bad publicity, because he had that professionalism on stage. Off stage, he was just down to earth, como un latino, como un puertorriqueño en la calle. ¿Cómo está, hermano? Te quieres un cervecita?
There you go.
So he would have his drink, and he actually, to me, I always felt like he earned it.
Right.
He was sober and clean and did his thing, and he wanted to hang out afterwards. Go ahead, go nuts. I kind of looked at it like that. I think our whole family kind of just appreciated what he gave to the world and that great musicianship. And that's really how everybody would like, every popular musician would like to be remembered as,
Sure,
an icon, legend. We think of Jimi Hendrix and we're like, oh, the guy did drugs, but he was such an incredible guitar player and only one of a kind, So we look past their faults. We look past that, and I think that's where I kind of hone in with myself too. I look past some of the things that I've done in the past too, and thank God, knock on wood, and I got the little clean-cut boy image. How are you?
There you
go. You saw the little horns coming out, right,
yes,
guys?
Exactly. These are some great photos that we're seeing, for those of you that are driving on 95, all the way down to Miami. We are actually looking at some historical photos from really early on.
Yeah.
In Tito Puente Sr.'s time in his career, and then we have one more towards the later portion. And they're just amazing and passionate, and just, I got to tell you, ladies, Junior over here looks a lot like his dad. No.
Looking like the old man. I don't have the white hair yet, but Tito Puente was just, I think it's just good genes. I'm gonna say it's good genes.
It's Puerto Rican good genes.
Being Puerto Rican good genes. It's a lot of it. My father passed away from heart disease and coronary thrombosis was what he passed away from that comes from living a very indulgent life and performing 300 shows a year and eating and drinking the best things that life can offer. So he lived a full life. I always come to terms with that. He passed away at 77. Today, by today's standards, that's quite young. But at that time, 23 years ago, he lived a full life. And he had everything, 7-time Grammy Award winner, 186 albums, 14 nominations, star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I can go on and on about the accolades.
Yes.
And I got to earn my keep now.
Yeah, so you got to earn your keep, and let's move on to where you are. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break so that we can actually regroup and go into some information about things that I want to share about, and then we'll move back into your story.
Nervous.
Don't be nervous. Once again, for any of you that want to dial in, it's 888-565-1470. We want to have you go ahead and ask a question and say hello if you want. With that said, here we go. Let's talk a little bit more.
Along the sun-drenched beaches of Boca Raton lies AMP 2 Media. We strive to bring rising stars and their fantastic work into the spotlight. From music to art, we have the tools and the talent you need to help you reach the next level. AMP 2 Media is proud to announce our new scoring platform for reality shows, movies, and videos. We have the ability to highlight music according to what the eye sees on the screen. Our excellent mastery of music allows us into the deepest part of your film. Our different sounds allow your film work to come to life. For more information, call our studios at 866-224-5422 or visit our website at amp2.tv. Let AMP Media Productions bring your media to life.
Back. Hi, everyone. As we're flipping and putting in between, having our, as Tito would say here, Facebook Live. I never heard it said that way, but I'll run with it. We have a couple of questions really quick, and then I want to move into some other things that I want to share before we move on. How many albums did Dad make?
My last count was 186 to his credit. So I have to really, really look into deep because he did a lot of features too.
Okay.
He was one of the first Latin pioneers to be on a hip hop record, which was Sugar Hill Gang. And that was back in 1978. And he performed on that record. He was one of the first to perform on a freestyle record, which was Clave Rocks Ay Papi, which was by Amaretto. He was very pioneering percussion player. Right. 186 is probably the last number that I can recall. Many on Fania, the Fania label, on Tico Records, RCA Victor, Concord Records, RMM. He did so many different labels. So I went to the Guinness Book of World Records. I typed it in, and I'm gonna try to see if he can get maybe a world record title for that.
Let's see. Yeah.
The most recorded Latin artist ever.
I think you have something there.
I think that would be.
You need to investigate that.
Could be a world record, yeah.
Yes. So I want to say this. So this portion of the show is brought to you by Atmos Immerse Dining Experience. I want to just share with you that this was an experience, a place called Atmos, once again, that I actually had the opportunity to sit through a 5-course meal and a to-die-for dessert. This experience was where you sit and you feel as if you are actually touring through a 360 immersion of all of this video that's happening around you as you're eating, and each video or the immersion is actually giving you the experience as if you're in that country. How does that sound to you?
That's beautiful. I love that.
Oh, it was.
Where are we going?
Okay, well, we're working on that.
Well, no,
I'm going to get you there. Oh, where do we go?
When we get there, where do we go?
Okay, so when you sit through this 5-course meal, this particular tour, we'll call it, this immersion actually brought us through Portugal, Italy, France, Spain.
I'm hungry.
Let me see here. Greece was the other one. Those are the 5.
Wow, beautiful.
And it was just amazing. It's a very intimate setting. sits no more than 14 people, and you have this presentation of food. And I am a foodie. I will say that. Those of you know me out there as well. I'm a foodie and a dining diva, and this was an experience that was just outstanding. So I understand that they've actually changed their menu a little bit more, and the presentation is to die for. I know you met with one of the owners here today.
I'm going.
Right, and we're going to get you there.
I want to check that out.
You all have to check that out. Once again, it's Atmos Immerse Dining, and it's over in the Fort Lauderdale Village area. So I really encourage all of you to check it out. If you want to know more about that, feel free to dial me, 954-562-8518, so that I can actually get you a reservation and you can have the experience. I know there's a lot of different events. And you know what? What a great thing for Valentine's Day. So once again, this portion of the show is brought to you by Atmos Immerse Dining. Moving on to that, you said something before about your infinity for rock and roll.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I'm going to share with you what I just did.
Oh no.
I had the pleasure of actually. Let me just look at this lineup. For those of you that can't see, look at this lineup. I have it wrinkled up and I saved it, but I actually had the ability to be one of the hosts for an event that is called the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
Oh my God, I love these
So
groups.
these names are, and I'm going to actually read them out to you, but this actual event was where I had the chance to see individuals that actually pay to be in this rock and roll camp.
Right.
It's like living their fantasy.
I love that. I
Yes.
want to be in a rock and roll camp.
I said that too. I want to be in camp.
Yeah.
I want to be a camper again because they
Yeah.
actually call them campers. But these are grown adults that come from all walks of life.
I saw this on your Facebook page.
You did. You did,
Yes.
because I was there, and some of the names, just to let you know, and how this works is individuals go and they have the ability, they sign up, and either they go as a band already,
Right.
or they'll when you sign up, you'll be formed as a band.
Right.
And your rock and roll coach is actually individuals that are very well known in the rock and roll industry.
I
So
see
some of
that.
the names, like, what is this name right here? Vinny Appice?
Are you kidding? Well, it's you got to say it right. It's Appice.
Okay.
Remember, he's Italian.
He is
And his
Italian.
brother Carmine, amazing.
Yes.
Those are. I'm a huge fan.
So we have also Britt Lightning. This is someone else that is actually a female guitarist, unbelievable. She is actually the coach. So we had also Rudy Sarzo.
Man, that Cubano, Rudy Sarzo, Cubano, the bass player, Quiet Riot, with Ozzy Osbourne.
I love it.
I love you. Rudy's on my Facebook page. Hi, Rudy.
Yes, I didn't know that. I'll have to go back and circle back
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
Stet Howland. We had.
Stet, man, awesome.
This is the lineup that
Yeah.
actually, and this is the great thing. They actually got the ability to play with each of these, and the headliner for that evening was Steve. Can you say it?
Where?
Steve. Can you say
No,
Steve?
you got to surprise me.
Yes, I got Steve Morris. That's
Oh
who
my
it
God,
is.
was it?
He was the headliner. He got to play
Was
the
it?
guitarist. Yep.
Oh, did you take a picture
From
with
Deep
him?
Purple? I did.
Oh my God, that's amazing, man!
Yes.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. So
Deep Purple.
so some of the other, we had Jason Ebbs, who was one of the key characters and is a well-known musician, very
Yeah.
diverse, who was in Rock Camp, the movie.
Yes.
And this was the
Love that
real
movie.
great thing. So it's not a charitable event. People actually save money for years to go to this.
Yeah.
And these are dreams that people live and die for to have the experience. I've met a few people up there, and this is like the most amazing thing. They've been around for 26 years doing this rock and roll camp. We had Gary Huey, very, very great. He was great.
Awesome,
I
Gary.
loved him. And then also we had John Moyer as well, bass player. So these are the names of, this is what I got to experience.
That's
Let me tell you,
cool.
they played music that was across the board. So they're coming back in March. We'll have to make sure that we get you
I
there.
want to go. I'm gonna have to figure out some way, folks, to mix mambo and metal music.
you go.
Mambo metal.
There we go. Momento. We'll call it something. We'll make it up.
Yeah.
So that was one of the great things I actually did this past weekend. And outside of having a dining experience at Atmos, I got to be at Rock and Roll Fantasy. Really quick though, I was sick. So I was not able to do a few things for the show in the meantime that I had sounded like I should have been doing. And I know I said it to Fred, I should have been doing phone sex because I sounded so hoarse. And it was just the most amazing thing. And people were saying, wow, you need to really start making money on that voice. But it doesn't last. So I'm so excited once again to have you here. And I want to now move into your part of all that you're doing now. You have a lot of things coming up.
Wow. It's funny because the whole past year we all been through it, and just take care of yourselves, folks. I think
Yes.
that we're at the point now where we're all just getting fatigued, and we all just have to kind of live with this whole thing. We don't know when the next variant's coming or anything like that. But throughout the whole entire process, I noticed one thing, and I just want to just give a little spirituality to everybody. If you're feeling down, or you're feeling a little claustrophobic, or you're feeling like nobody's out listening to you, definitely, without a doubt, what I noticed throughout the entire pandemic, entire lockdown, more people have been listening and dancing to Tito Puente music than I ever seen in my entire life. So as I scroll, I saw people dancing. I'm talking about around the planet.
Yes.
Dancing to Gran Can Can, dancing to Babara Batiri, to Oye Como Va, to all the music of my father. So it's funny because my father's no longer with us on this planet, but he brought joy to people around the world when we're going through this lockdown.
Yeah.
And music is what brings people together, even virtually, just like what we're doing right now, kind of. And it was something really special. So if you are feeling that feeling of just like anxiety or anything like that, turn on a Tito Puente record. I encourage you guys to please do that.
There is so much healing that comes from music and dance.
Absolutely. Mambo music is very good for mental state. It's very good for your heart. Papi's looking at me, man. He wants to hear some music right now. I'm
Papi,
telling
my
you,
dad.
I get people. I go to all the century villages and all that stuff, and I get people up out of their seats and to do the clave, cha 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 cha, and I teach them salsa and everything. It brings people together, and even if we could do it virtually, you get out of your seat and you get that blood pumping.
Yep.
Mambo music is good. It's
You
good
burn
for
calories after all that, like
It
arroz con
burns
gandules and all
calories,
that.
and it burns that anxiety right off. Listen to a couple of Listen, I went to my Alexa at home at 7 a.m. My kids hate it. Alexa, play Tito Puente. Play it. I come back home by like 7 at night. It's still playing Tito Puente music because that's how much music Tito Puente left on this planet.
Yes.
I have a gift for you.
Oh, you have a gift for me?
Yes.
Oh, for those of you out there, I love presents.
This is a pre-Valentine's Day gift.
Pre-Valentine's. Oh,
Yes.
I haven't had a Valentine's in like 8 years.
Oh, don't say that. Dad's here. Come on.
No, he's my Valentine.
That's your new Valentine.
Yes. Okay.
This is what I called the Salsa Bundle Pack. So,
Mira que lindo.
So you guys are wondering what I've been doing lately. So during the whole lockdown, I actually did a tribute record to my father. After 20 years after his passing, in 2020, I wanted to put a record together, and I finally did it. I did it remotely, but I got some of the greatest performers that worked with my father. So the album is called The King and I.
Yes.
And I worked with Domingo Quiñones, Jose Alberto Canario, Frankie Negron, the late great Meñique, Sheila E., Pete Escovedo,
Wow.
Michael Stewart, my brother Ronnie Puente, Yolanda Duque. The list goes on and on. It's an amazing album, all remakes of my father's classic tunes, 5 decades of Tito Puente songs, and it's part of the Salsa Bundle Pack. Then I'm sitting there last year, I'm like, man, we can't gig, we can't really do anything. Recorded the album, put it out. Then my wife looks at me, she's like, ella boricua, puertorriqueña de Cagua, Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
And she's looking, but from Brooklyn. So she's giving me that Brooklyn dirty look. And she's like, yo, you gotta
run.
She's like, yo, you gotta do something with yourself. She goes, why don't you do something that people would like during, this whole lockdown? And that's eating. And I said, man, that makes sense. So take a look.
Okay.
This is the first one. This is Tito Puente Jr. hot sauce,
Oh
ladies
my
and
God,
gentlemen.
look at this. Look, everyone.
So I thought about it. I said salsa that you can listen to and salsa you can eat.
Oh my gosh.
So this one's the Rancancang sauce by TP Jr. Tito Tamarindo sauce. I brought these for you. I want these to put.
Oh my God, I love it.
It's a cool little Valentine's Day gift. And ladies, you can order it right there. Shopify.com. And it's a 4-pack.
Oh yeah, this is like.
This one's Mambo Diablo sauce.
Oh my, Mambo Diablo, I love it.
Yeah, it's got mango and maple syrup. Really, really cool. So put the record on, The King and I, then have a great meal, pasteles, arroz, habichuela, cualquier cosa,
dale.
and put some Tito Puente Jr. salsa on it.
So I have some CDs here. Actually, I put this out on social media, this particular one.
Yes.
And this is the one that had Oye Como Va, right?
Yes, I did a brand new version of Oye Como Va.
I love it.
Thank you. And I'm really, really proud of the album. Tribute to Tito Puente. It's a bonus CD with my girl Melina Amolivar, who happens to be the producer of a fantastic festival happening April 9th at Hollywood Young Circle. And, this is a great opportunity for you guys that are kind of still in lockdown and don't really go out. But if you want some good music and good meal, it's a perfect Valentine's Day gift.
Oh,
folks.
it is.
Look at the red bag.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's so thoughtful. Here's a great picture of you.
Yes,
too.
and I'll sign it for you,
sign
too.
it for me.
So when you order it on Shopify.com, just go to Tito Puente Jr. myshopify.com. I will sign the autograph CD, photo. You get 4 brand new hot sauces. The flavors
I
are
love
great.
it.
You're going to love it. And they're all vegan friendly, non-GMO. They have, let me tell you, Carolina Reaper in it. So this is picante. Okay, this is hot sauce.
Todos son picantes, of
Ese
course.
todos son picante. First you taste the fruit, then you taste the fire. And then you got to put on the Tito Puente music, but you're going to love it. I want you to try it. Tell me what you think.
I
and
will.
if you guys order them, put them on social media. I'll repost. I got a New Year's sale, 15% off right now. Tito Puente Jr. my Shopify.com. I want to hang out with the dining divas and have some of this hot sauce with you guys.
We're going to have to put it together.
'Cause you
Actually,
guys
we can
cook
actually
so
have
well.
a show here.
Yeah.
I'll have one of my chefs come in and we'll actually try it out.
Fantastic. So
Yes,
enjoy.
for those of you that are out there, there's no reason why, and I've been saying this to everyone, you could come to our station. Just look up the address, and we have it here. It's Power Up Radio TV. 1650 South Beaucaire.
South Dixie.
South Dixie.
Yeah. You can come on helicopter.
In Boca Raton.
We're in the flavorful Boca Raton. Woo!
We're in the
I love it.
WWNN station, so it'll make it
Yes.
easy to look it up. I just learned the phone number, so just be... I know my phone number. I just learned that phone number. So if you...
It's a picture of him doing one of his father's moves.
Yeah,
Yes,
kind of.
one of the infamous moves.
There it is. The Tito Puente elbow on the drum head. Yes, my father kind of got that from, I don't know where he actually got that, but he did a lot of this stuff, like over his head, very spiritual stuff. But
That's drummer style, though.
yeah, but he kind of like manicured that type of playing.
That's a great shot.
Yeah, it's a good shot. I don't think I've aged too much, but I'm getting there.
No, you look good. You look good.
Yeah.
Recognize this person.
Yes, there she is.
Oh, mi
my
Celia
madrina.
Cruz.
Celia Cruz, the queen of Afro-Cuban music around the world. Even till this day, she is sorely missed. It was great growing up with her. Her and her beautiful husband, Pedro Knight, they were like my godparents for my sister, my brother, and myself. And it was just incredible seeing them tour around the planet.
Right.
Tito Puente and Celia Cruz. It was like Superman and Superwoman right there together. And Wonder Woman. It was just incredible. Incredible. And if you didn't get to see them live, you'll never see anybody like that ever again. It's kind of like once in a lifetime,
Well, I had that lifetime experience I shared with you earlier.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know this, I'll share a little bit about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So back in 1978, right, Dad? I guess 1978, I was La Reina
Yeah.
de la Pared. Wait, what was it? La Parada de Puerto Rico. Well, it was like the Puerto Rican.
The Puerto Rican parade princess.
Yeah,
Or the queen.
The queen, yes,
Oh,
in
yeah.
19 back then. And actually, as part of my duties, I
Mm-hmm.
had to go from different event to different event. And I actually got to meet your dad.
Of course, because he was probably in every Puerto Rican parade since its inception. He was like the padrino of the parade since the beginning.
Yes.
I'm so glad you got. So what'd you think? I mean,
Oh, I'm going back on time,
Yeah.
way back. But I also had the same pleasure and the grace to meet Celia Cruz.
Celia Cruz también.
And she was just so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. They both were powerful. What did I think? I was, 16 at the time.
Yeah.
So me like you, it's just like, I got it, but I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But I knew this was my culture. This was, but,
yeah.
and my hips didn't lie. I still moved. I still had the movement going,
Yeah, I
but
hear ya.
to look back now, and I can see where you're coming from, to appreciate that the iconic
yeah.
experience. And
Yeah.
I could still hear the both of them, actually.
Yeah, these people are our culture.
Yes,
and
that's
I
right.
want every parent out there, whether you be Latino or white, black, Hispanic, whatever you are, please teach our kids about Celia Cruz, Tito Puente, Fania All-Stars, Johnny Pacheco, who just recently passed away last year. Some of these are our culture iconistic people. These are our Tchaikovskys, Duke Ellingtons, Count Basie's. These are our Michael Jacksons, our folks that are
Yep.
just incredible. You have rock gods. These are the Latin gods of mambo and Latin music.
When is the book coming? People are writing in.
Yes.
When's the book coming?
A book, yeah. I'm considering writing a book. Well, first, I'd like to mention that my father's, we want to talk about the documentary.
That's
So
what
I'm
I want
doing-
to talk about, right?
I'm doing a documentary on my father's life story. It'll be an 8-part docuseries. It's being produced in Hollywood. We were working with Mr. Edward James Olmos. He was going to probably narrate the entire thing. And the trailer should be out by this May. And it should be out by this fall on, I'm not too sure which digital platform, but it'll either be Amazon, Netflix, or Hulu, one of those. It'll be an 8-part docuseries on the life story of Tito Puente. You guys are going to see exclusive footage that my mother recorded of my father
Wow.
years ago, and stuff that people don't know or ever seen. Tito Puente having cottage cheese and cherries. Tito Puente opening up
Is it in
Christmas
black
gifts.
and white?
Some of it is, and some of it you're gonna see just me in there as a young boy and my sister, and just really home stuff. People didn't know Tito Puente in that way. Most of you guys recognize Tito Puente as that icon figure and that gray-haired man that just sparkled and shined on stage and played the timbales incredibly. But I want you guys to meet the man, the myth, the legend, the humbleness.
Love it.
His humble beginnings. He was born in Spanish Harlem. I'm going to take you on a trip down memory lane. Old folks, young folks, it's a good teaching experience. 8-part docuseries, The King of Latin Music, Tito Puente, should be out by the end of this year. Excited about that. And then next year, 2023, we're considering doing a biopic, and we're working with some screenwriters on that.
How do you like that all? Everyone listening and seeing, I mean, how do you like that? This is an amazing opportunity to see history in the making, right? And in a series, a documentary.
Yeah, documentary. I think all the fans, it should be told it's been too long. A lot of the fans are like, why'd you wait 20 years? I think now's the right time. My mother's behind all this too, and the family is, and we wanted to get everybody on the same page. And now Hollywood, I liked it simply because the Queen movie and the Elton John movie, all those biopics are so brilliant and beautiful, and people have interest in that. And I think Tito Puente is one of those household names, even in the middle of America, in Oklahoma, they know Tito Puente over there, and they want to hear about him. And that's why we wanted to do this.
I have to say this to you, listening to the story, but I am actually very moved, very, very moved by the fact that you're sharing this passion of yours. And I just know that he's looking over you saying, thank you so much. I just know that I don't want to make you cry. Yeah. But this is something that I have to share with you, that this is just an amazing piece that you've done, and I thank you so much for sharing, because I don't know how many people don't know this, and that's the purpose of the show, is to share, to educate. We're celebrating a life here. We're educating you on history, and this is from the real McCoy. This is the son of the legend, who is now his own legend and doing everything he can to make the journey known.
Thank you for saying that.
It's so great.
I appreciate your words, and it's funny though that some people do call me legendary. I don't find myself being the legend my father was. Legends. Some legends are still with us, and some legends can be gone from this planet. But my father was really the one that opened up the doors for all of us.
Don't sell
all
yourself
Latinos.
Short. Yes.
And that includes from every musician and reggaetonero, and from Ricky Martin to Mark Anthony to everybody in the planet. They all had Tito Puente and Celia Cruz open up the doors for them to come through and really become superstars and celebrities like the way they are now.
They
today.
came through at a time when...
Wouldn't have J-Lo if you didn't have Celia.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's right. Well, no, they broke down barriers.
Yeah.
They broke down barriers. Yeah. They actually opened doorways. They paved the road for
us.
Those are that now today doing what they're doing, like you just mentioned, all those great icons that are now making a big difference. And you know what? They all age greatly. They all.
That's our Latino blood.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So you have a couple of shows coming up. So I know that on February 11th we have a show. It's called The Sweetheart at Sunrise Lakes. Is that right?
Yeah, Sunrise Lakes. You guys can get tickets. There should be a phone number there.
Yes, you can actually dial into 954-429-6248 to get tickets.
That is going to be Sweetheart. Duh. Hello, Valentine's Day. Bring your Valentine.
Yes, and
to
maybe
the
we'll
concert.
actually get some of these.
I will have hot sauces. I will have CDs at every one of these concerts. I encourage you guys to come on out. I'm going to be performing with La Muñeca de la Salsa, Melina Almodovar, on those particular concerts. That's February 11th.
Friday. And then we have February 26th.
February 26th, I'll be down at Pinecrest Gardens in South Florida. Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful, beautiful venue. They have beautiful animals there. And why not enjoy a nice evening of Latin jazz music? And we're doing a tribute to Celia and Tito Puente that evening.
You can't miss that, folks. I mean, you got to just go ahead.
Pinecrestgardens.org. Get your tickets there.
Love that. I mean, that's a great tribute. Mm-hmm. And so we also have the next one, April 9th, which is a big festival.
Para todos los latinos aquí en Boca Raton and all surrounding, man, the whole state of Florida, come on out.
Yep.
It is the biggest Southeastern Salsa Festival. It hasn't been here for 2 years simply because of the lockdown, but we're back this year. It's April 9th, Saturday, April 9th. We're going to have Charlie Aponte from El Gran Combo de Puerto Rico, Bobby Cruz as well as performing. I will be there. Melina Almodovar is producing it. She will be singing. We have a few different artists. Fantastic. Free, gratis para ustedes. All great for the family. April 9th.
Awesome.
Hollywood Young Circle.
Hollywood Young Circle.
Hollywood
in
Young
Hollywood.
Circle, yes.
So maybe we can actually do live.
Yeah.
Power Up Radio can be live there at the show, and then we'll have to actually make
Love
that
to
all
have you
come
guys
together.
be our guests.
So with that said, everyone, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Dad, happy birthday. Tito, thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend, everyone. And you know what? If you're feeling down and out, put on some Tito Puente music. Peace out, everyone.
You have been listening live to the one and only timeless Denise as she helps you bring in your weekend with a smile. If you wish to contact Denise and be on the show, call us at 866-224-5422 or email Denise at poweredupradiotv.show and tell us how your business shapes up the weekend. Again, call us at 866-224-5422 and make your mess our message. Now that you are powered up, go get your weekend on.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers.